guys, it's me, Pascal from Orange Pixel, and welcome to a new video. Wait a second, why am I in this small box? What's the, I'm in the game? What? Alright, can you press the X to close the dialogue? Yeah, that's probably not gonna work. You know what? Check the intro, I'll do it myself, and I'll see you after the intro. Alright, see you in a minute. Hey guys, I'm Pascal from Orange Pixel, and this week I had a very productive week, which as a game developer is pretty good because it means a lot of stuff gets done. You can check off a lot of things from your list of to-do, and of course I also feel very good about it. So very positive week. Let's just dive into all the stuff that I've been doing this week for Space Grunts 2. Right, the dialogues and tutorial system. I came up with a very simple system. It's basically drawing a box on the screen with a little avatar in it and a lot of text, or few text, but at least some text explaining things. The main reason I kept it simple is because I don't want to overwhelm the player with a lot of stuff going on. So these little dialogues should really work for everybody, and they give you a lot of information, and it was also a great way for me to explain a bunch of stuff that's happening in the system. So when you start the game for the first time, there will be a tutorial type information boxes. These will pop up only once, and I hope the player will read it. For those that do read everything, they will have all the information to play the game. And then there are a couple of boxes that will always show up. Things like running through spores in a game. Since every game these spores are mixed and different variations, you need to know which spores you're running through. So every time you run through a type of spore for the first time, you'll get a little information box either warning you for hazardous or poisonous spores, or keep walking through these things because they're really healing you. So those type of boxes will always pop up, and then the tutorial boxes are one time only, but I probably add a little option in the settings that you can reactivate tutorials. For those that missed it, you can just reactivate them and you'll get all the tutorials again. For these dialogue boxes, I also created a little avatar or profile pictures for all the characters in the game. So we have bigger versions of the main characters, and I also created a little, well, I call it Spock type figure because he's basically your second in command back on the spaceship and giving you instructions and information. And he's a bit like Spock. He's a bit logical and he's a bit weird, but he helps you out. So really just read what he has to say and you'll be fine in the game. So last week's video I mentioned I wanted to add a codex to the game, and I have been adding codexes. And I've been adding these things to all my previous games as they really contain a lot of information, that's both helpful to the player but also helpful to me if players have questions later on, like 5-6 months down the line when I'm not working on the game anymore and I mostly forgot everything I put in the game. The codex is there to help both me and the player get around all the weird stuff happening. So I'm splitting up the codex in different parts. We'll have one codex for all the cards in the game. You'll only see cards that you actually played. So cards that you have not played yet are not unlocked until you actually play them. Even if you've seen them, as long as you're not using them, they are not being unlocked. So you really need to play all the cards in the game to unlock them all. Right now I also noticed there aren't really that many cards yet, so I need to add a lot more cards because I want a much bigger deck and a larger codex. And what it really does is just show you all the cards that are in the game, and just a nice reference manual of all the cards in the game that you can just take your time to browse through and not have to read them during a gameplay session. And people ask for it, and I like adding things like this. So the codex for the cards is now already in the game, and I also added a codex for aliens. What this does is really show you all the information of an alien, how weak it is, how rare it is, and this information was already in the game and shown when you use the tricorder card, but it's now also in the codex. Once you've used the tricorder card, the alien information is unlocked for the codex, and if you encounter an alien 100 times and kill it 100 times, you will also complete the research bar for the alien, which means that those type of aliens will be weaker from then on. So you can actually make the game slightly easier by just playing it a lot of times and encountering certain aliens a lot of times and actually defeating them. So while I was completing the Codex, this was actually adding another gameplay layer on top of the normal gameplay as well, because you now have this research bar which can be completed, and you have the Codex where you can unlock stuff. So extra layers for people who really dig the game and really like to unlock everything. Special events. I haven't added all the special events I had in mind, but I did add the first one, and it's actually a pretty damn good one because I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I've added Comets to the game. So what happens is when you start a new game, the level generator actually picks a random event. In this case there's only one, so it's going to be either Comets or none, which is also an option. When the Comets event is picked at the start of the game, you'll actually see a dialogue of the ship's mate, avatar thingy guy, telling you there might actually be some impact coming your way, comets dropping on the planet, so take care, be careful, watch out, things like that. So you'll be warned about this event. The comets will only happen in the outer area of the game, so that's the first couple of levels, because after that you move into the spaceship. So really what it means is the first couple of levels there will be red crosses around you on the floor. You then have like 3 or 4 turns to get out of there, because there's a comet coming and a comet coming. So there will be an impact on the red cross, and you better make sure you're not there, because it's gonna make a lot of noise and impact and explode and things will die. So this event is both helpful but also harmful, because you don't want to be there when a comet hits, but it's always good to have aliens there when the comet hits, because it kills the aliens. It can even destroy crates, metal crates and things like that. So it's a good thing and a bad thing at once. Other events might just be bad and other events may be good, although I don't think I actually came up with ideas for just good events, but it's still early. I might come up with interesting events that only help you, but for now events will just make the game a little bit different, modify the game a little bit darker, a little bit harder, but also hopefully a lot more fun. Alright, and besides those big things, I've also added a map screen. I added the save game feature. I changed a lot of stuff in the game already, and it's like I said, it was a very productive week, and I'm actually ahead of my own schedule right now, which is great and comfortable, but I still have a bunch of stuff that I want to add to the game before we release it. So, enough talk, that's it for this week's video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all the changes I made, and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But before I go, let's see what you guys had to say on last week's video, which was about Space Grunts Devlog 12 and a little bit about Gunslugs and a very sneak peek of a new game. Let's see what you guys had to say. Italital said, I miss technical devlogs, and sad face. Yes, the problem with technical devlogs is a couple of things. One, I don't have just game developers watching my videos. I know that, so there are a lot of people who have no technical experience, game development experience or whatever. That's the first problem. The second problem is I work in Java and libgdx. I can do a lot of technical and code stuff, but most people won't really have any use for it in Unity or Godot or GameMaker or whatever. So I have a couple of topics I want to talk about, technical, code-wise or game-related stuff, but I just don't want to go too deep into them, so I have to figure out a good way to talk about it. But don't expect a lot of programmer-type vlogs on this channel. I'm more talking about my own games and then try to communicate it in a way that everybody understands it, hopefully. Mark Forrester, it's great to hear the progress being made straight from the horse's mouth. You're calling me a horse? Very refreshing. No, that's very refreshing. I'll be playing on Android, so I'll need to wait for that, but it looks so amazing. Yeah, Android version is coming a little bit later, and but the gameplay is pretty good. I will be trying to get the game up and running on my phone and on iPad probably next week, because I really need to know if it actually runs on those things. So we'll dive into that later. Nick Custers, just in time. I just finished all your devlogs since you started in 2018. Yeah, I've seen your comments coming in all the videos, and I couldn't answer all of them, but I already knew where you were. And just look at it like this. You now have just one video a week, so you have a lot of time left to either play my games, or do actual work, maybe. I don't know. Alistair Richmond, Gunslugs 3 has very complex controls, and with items there was a steep learning curve. Still an amazing game, but not very casual player friendly. Yeah, I agree, it wasn't casual, it was not for the casual player. There was more depth to it, and there was maybe some information required here and there, extra information. But all in all, compared to my other games, it wasn't really that different from say something like Ashworld or Heroes of Loot 1 or Space Grunts. So I'll get back to all those things in a Gunslugs 3 video at some point, but right now I'm not gonna dive into all of it. Segar Estana, Gunslugs Rogue Tactics is great. Thanks, I agree. I don't know why people don't like it, but it's really amazing and unique type of game. Yeah, it's not so much that people don't like it, it's more that most people never heard of it, never saw it, never read about it, don't know it exists, which is really the biggest problem here. So, that's it for this week's video. I'll see you guys next week. Bye! I'll do it myself and I'll see you after the intro. Alright, see you in a minute.